must be increased. Tamam? Any question here? Let's move on to question 14. In this question, I remember this question that year when the students come out in that year and they keep asking me, Ustad, which statement is correct? I told them, what are the question asked? Because they don't memorize all the ideas of the question. Look what the question said here. The approximate age of the egg can be determined by placing it in a bowl of water. 2 eggs of different ages are placed in water and come to rest as shown here. After 1 day, it sinks. After 1 month, it floats. Okay. The internal structure of the egg as shown here. Okay. A student searched to the internet to find the reason why the old egg floats. He found that the following statement of different websites. Statement 1, statement 2. What they said? Old eggs float because the egg ages are start to compose. Okay? As it composed gases, okay, are produced that escape, okay, through the egg shell. Okay, that's statement number 1. Statement number 2. As the egg aged, air enters the egg. Okay, therefore the shell and increase the size of what? Of the air cell, this air cell. It will become bigger. That's what they said. The larger the air cell, okay, as floating devices, okay, and hence old egg float. Now what they ask here? Assess which of these 2 statements is correct. Assess, okay, like criticize, which statement is correct, and you have to tell them the explanation, which statement is correct, why it's correct, and the other statement why it's wrong. So, in your opinion, tell me which statement is correct. Is this the first statement or second statement? Write for me on the chat, number 1 or number 2. In your opinion, okay? Right, number 1 or number 2, which statement is correct? Okay. Shukran ya Shahid. What about the rest of you? Which statement is correct? Is it statement number 1 or statement number 2? Okay, shukran ya Hamza, shukran ya Noor. شكرا يا عبد الفتاح. مش مشكلة هلا الاكسبلانيشن ليش أنا in your opinion which one and why. اوكي بعدين نحكي عن why هلا بس which one. تمام 4 اللي جاوبوني من أصل 10. هي 5 أمير شكرا رباح. اوكي تمام اوكي خلينا نحكي هلا شو اللي صار. هلا في ناس حكوا statement 1 is correct, في ناس حكوا statement 2 correct. Now we know that whenever the object float, that means it becomes denser or less dense? That becomes less dense. So when they said less dense, okay, that means the total mass. We know that density equal mass over volume. So we have 2 choices here. Maybe the mass decreased, or maybe the volume increased. Maybe the mass decreased to make the density decrease, or maybe the volume increased because the volume with density, they are inversely proportional. Maybe the volume increased, making the density decrease. I'm talking about the total density of the egg. Does the total volume of the egg increase? No, it didn't increase. So which statement is correct? Now we have to say that statement 1 tell us information that as the gas is getting out, escape, that means the total mass decrease. Okay. Statement number 2, they said as there is air get inside, that means the total mass increased. So that leaves statement 1, that means the total density, the average density of the egg becomes less. While statement number 2 say that the average density of the egg becomes more. So since the upthrust the force upward because the volume doesn't change of the egg. The upthrust remains constant. Okay, that means the weight in the second statement, the weight increases. Okay, but in the first statement, the weight decreases. So that means we have difference here in between the resultant force. One said that the resultant force becomes up, which is statement number 1, and the other said that the resultant force stays down. That means the egg will make sinker more. Okay, sink more. Okay, but because there's reach the bottom, there is no contact. So to rise, we have to make the what? To float. Okay, old egg to float means that has less density. So statement 1 is what? Is correct, while statement 2 is not correct. So how we are going to write this down? Okay, how we are going to explain it and get the 6 marks. Now, as you know, let me show you the way of checking the exam. Okay, because this is a new type of questions in star questions. In star questions, you have to know about, okay, number of marks, individual ideas or individual keywords. Okay, number of individual keywords give you a specific what? Individual marks. And there's 2 marks, okay, extra 2 marks out of 6, because 4 marks on the ideas, 2 marks on how you are link the statements to each other, how you make your language common sense. Okay, so what they said here, if you mention no ideas, you will not get no mark. If you mention 1 idea, you will get 1 mark. 2, 3 ideas, you get 2 marks, etc. To 6 ideas, you get 4 marks. And they tell us you have to link between the statement, and they ask about how you can link it. Yeah, for example, if you link statement number 1 or statement number 1 with 2 with 6, you get another mark. Okay, if you link what the statement number 2 with a statement okay with anyone, you will okay or 2 statement, 2 ideas, 2 linkage, you get what? Another mark. If you don't make any linkage, if you put only ideas without making common sense, you get no ideas. Okay, look to the mark scheme, what they said. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 statements, and the statement to choose statement 1 is the correct answer. It's only a mark. Okay, so if you say the statement 1 is correct, you get a 1 mark. So what about if my explanation was wrong? Shall I get 1 mark or 2 marks? It depends on the question. In this type of question, no, you will not get any marks. Okay, the total marks, okay, is awarded in the sum of the mark additional content to the marks of the structure and the lines of reasons. Okay, and sometimes they give us that, okay, you have to give a correct answer to get what? The 2 or 3 marks. Okay, or none, 0. Okay, how do we link the ideas? How we link the ideas? When you say that, like here. Now we have to say that to rise, okay, that means you have to make the weight, okay, less than the upthrust for statement number 1. So what you have to say, that since that the volume stays constant, that means the upthrust remains constant, but statement number 1 states that the density decreases. Okay, so that means it will be rise. هيك احنا خدنا what? 3 statement, we link them to each other. ما حكينا information. ما حكينا ايش؟ information without ايش link them. يعني واحد بيجي بيحكي لي more density, less density, more weight, less weight, whatever. مش هيك. You have to make it what? More clear. خلينا نرجع للايش؟ للسؤال ونيجي نبلش. انا بدي اجاوب هذا السؤال. ايش egg rises since its density decreases, making the upthrust is greater than its weight. And the weight decreases as the mass decreases by composing gases from the egg as statement as a statement 1 mention. But statement 2 stated that the mass and the weight increases by adding air inside. And since the egg volume doesn't change, so the upthrust remains constant, so statement 1 is correct by making a resultant force upward makes it float. Teacher, I know that upthrust usually equals to the weight of displaced fluid. Okay. So why in this case? Okay. Now when the object float,